Amsterdam suddenly became the center of gravity of world pop culture when Jin, one of K-pop's biggest icons, set foot on the European stage for the first day of her concert. Why is a single performance of a Korean artist able to move the masses from transcontinental, sparking a wave of academic discussion, to touch the issues of cultural globalization? This question not only arouses curiosity, but also challenges our understanding of today's international entertainment landscape. The mood in the Dutch capital has changed dramatically since morning. Train stations are full of fans carrying posters, light sticks, and even genie-themed clothing. This phenomenon is not just a concert queue, it is a cultural migration on a mini-scale, where language, ethnicity, and nationality fuse into a single identity: fans. This event is aligned with the theory of cultural hybridization, which states that modern pop media combines local and global elements into a single product that is easily accessible to anyone, anywhere. Visually, the first day of Jin Live in Amsterdam presented a unique blend of K-pop aesthetics and European landscapes. The stage is designed to the high-tech standards typical of Asian concerts, but with a touch of lighting that takes advantage of Amsterdam's night atmosphere. This is where the power of global pop culture lies. It is not only present, but absorbs and adapts to the local context without losing its distinctive features. From a sociological point of view, the presence of thousands of international fans in a single geographical point shows how pop music has become a tool of cross-country mobilization. Case studies like this are rare in Europe for non-Western artists. K-pop, through Jin, proves that the appeal of Asian entertainment no longer depends on exotic appeal alone, but on the quality of production, personal narratives of artists, and digital interactions that build emotional closeness. Not only was the audience stunned, but cultural observers were surprised by the speed of penetration of K-pop culture in the European market. Before BTS, the international stage was rarely dominated by Korean artists. Now, the first day of Jin's concert in Amsterdam is empirical evidence that the power structure of the global music industry is shifting. Ticket sales that ran out in a matter of minutes, plus a surge in tourist visits to Amsterdam, showed that this concert was not just entertainment, but an economic phenomenon. Interestingly, the interaction on social media shows that this concert has become a transnational event that is monitored in real time. Event-related hashtags topped the global trending positions on Platform X, formerly Twitter, while live broadcasts and concert footage flooded TikTok and Instagram. This phenomenon proves that the spread of pop culture is no longer waiting for official coverage, but rather moves organically through a vast digital network. On an aesthetic level, Jin mixes consistent vocal performances with minimalist, yet meaningful choreography, in contrast to BTS's movement-laden format. This approach strengthened his identity as a solo artist and displayed a more personal musical side. In the eyes of fans, this is a rare opportunity to see Jin without the filter of the group, while for academics, it is an example of how K-pop artists shape individual narratives without losing relevance in the global market. For the citizens of Amsterdam, the first day of the concert proved that their city is capable of becoming a relevant stage for events on a global scale. Hotels were full, restaurants got a surge of international customers, and even souvenir sellers reported increased sales of K-pop-themed goods. All this leads to one conclusion: global pop culture is a real economic force, not just a temporary entertainment trend. On closer inspection, Jin's first day of concerts in Amsterdam was the embodiment of glocalization, a process in which global products are adapted to local tastes. Jin's performance retains the aesthetic and message typical of K-pop, but intelligently utilizes language, symbols, and interactions familiar to European audiences. This approach ensures that its artistic message is not only heard, but also understood and emotionally perceived by cross-cultural audiences. Finally, When the stage lights went out and the sounds of cheers faded away, what remained were not only memories of spectacular performances, but also traces of a new understanding of how music is able to break through boundaries. Jin's first day in Amsterdam wasn't just a concert. It was a living study of how global pop culture moves, adapts, and influences the world. A moment that not only satisfies fans' hunger for entertainment, but also satisfies researchers' curiosity about the future of cultural interaction in the digital age. If the first day of Jin's concert in Amsterdam is to become a global spotlight, then a fundamental question must immediately be asked. Does the spotlight reflect the events that actually took place? Or is it the product of a communication strategy designed to create a sensation? This question is not just a game of academic rhetoric. It demands that readers weigh the evidence carefully and refuse to accept a narrative just because it's viral. Are we willing to be passive consumers of beautiful but untested stories? Some witnesses deliver reports full of emotion and convincing detail, but digital documentation often comes as short pieces that are easy to rearrange. If a 20-second video is capable of changing the perception of hundreds of thousands of people, isn't that a compelling reason to examine the context? Always ask, who uploaded first? Is there a full version available? And is the chronology of multiple independent uploads consistent with each other? Visual reliability does not automatically equal factual correctness, so contextual verification becomes imperative. It should be noted that the information we summarize comes from various popular platforms such as TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter, as well as a number of other media that participate in spreading pieces of news. However, the veracity of the data still requires further verification. Do mainstream media and credible local reports also report similar things? The convergence of reports from different sources increases credibility, but the plurality of sources without verification can actually create a deceptive echo. From the economic side and the interests of the industry, a critical question that should not be overlooked is, who benefits the most from this spectacular narrative? Do concert promoters, tourism service providers, and digital platforms receive tangible benefits? Or do the figures quoted come from framing in favor of a particular party? Commercial motives can explain the amplification of news coverage, so we must distinguish between sustained economic success and temporary PR effects. TO help readers verify on their own. Take note of simple but effective steps. Identify the account that first published the content and assess its reputation. Compare the chronology of multiple uploads to ensure consistency. Seek confirmation from local media, venue parties, or official representatives of the artist. Perform a reverse search on images or videos to detect reuse or manipulation. These steps are more useful than simply sharing viral content without a fact check. Provocative but worth considering. Imagine if most of the visual evidence in circulation turned out to be designed to increase engagement through cinematic storytelling. Would you still call the phenomenon authentic? This kind of skepticism is not a rejection of the fan experience, but rather an intellectual obligation in the information age. We must choose between reactive comments or analyses that question the source, context, and purpose of the dissemination of the content, and an academic perspective. Events such as the first day of the Genie concert in Amsterdam are empirical laboratories for the study of global pop culture, but laboratories without controls are prone to selection bias and data manipulation. Researchers should question the representativeness of the cited witnesses, the potential for media gatekeeping, as well as the possibility of a narrative being formed before anecdotal data reaches the public. Until independent verification is carried out, claims about cultural and economic impacts should be treated as hypotheses awaiting testing. We invite you, the reader, to participate critically, share the evidence you find, ask the original source, and challenge claims that seem exaggerated. Do you really believe that these events are completely real, or are they partly fabricated for the sake of media attention? Do the articles, posts, or scripts you read reflect the facts? Or are they just designed as hoaxes for sensationalism? Question, verify, and discuss. Critical doesn't mean cynical. Critical means responsible. Keep in mind that the information we convey comes from TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and several other media, but the truth of the information still needs to be verified further. Keep thinking critically and do not immediately believe every news circulating. Thank you. A final call. Does this pop culture revival foster cross-cultural solidarity? Or does it just become a commercial frenzy that shuts down local dialogue spaces? Are local voices clouded by a louder global narrative? Who has the right to interpret this phenomenon? And how big is our responsibility to demand evidence and transparency? Choose critical curiosity, not instant gratification. Are you ready to test these claims? Submit your sources, discuss the evidence, and let's prove together which ones are facts and which ones are just echoes of sensations.